It's Zelda, isn't it? So, picture yourself in 2017.
It's been 6 years since the release of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, the latest 3D Zelda game, and with the less than favorable reviews of that game, people were more than hyped when the teaser for the new Zelda came out in 2014. Little did people know that they would have to wait 3 more years for the new game to finally release. Finally, on March 3rd, 2017, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild released, and everyone was all like,
Breath of the Wild received critical acclaim. It was a huge leap for the Zelda series and everybody loved it. But then 6 years later, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom came out and did it again.
It was overly similar to the last game, and people thought that this would be a case of the Spider-Mans or the God of Wars.
And, well, to a certain extent it was.
Are you shit-talking us again?
I know you are not shit-talking us again.
Ah, shit. I've upset Spider-Man and, Kratos again. Look, I'm sorry guys, but at least on a surface level, all of your sequels were very similar to the originals. Oh, yeah, right, back to Zelda.
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom aren't even the first example of 2 games being similar in its own series. Zelda had the Oracle games, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, so this is nothing new for Zelda fans.
Today I'm going to take a very brief look at these games and tell you the differences that I've noticed and tell you which one I think is better.
What about me?
I'm going to be judging these games based off 4 categories: story, presentation, legacy, and gameplay, which will be broken up into subcategories that I'll break down when I get to them. Keep in mind that this is all my opinion, and I am writing a comedy show here, so we'll see what happens.
Now, just to clarify, I got Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, and Tears of the Kingdom only came out on the Switch, so keep that in mind when I'm discussing these differences.
Also, you are a cheap ass with a shitty computer and capture card.
Overall, I think both games look pretty good. I like the colorful atmosphere, and the lighting looks absolutely fantastic at some points. All the character models are nice, and
Mamma mia!
lots of the time, the games look almost identical. Look, I'm going to show you a clip, and you guys definitely won't be able to tell which game it is. I'll give you a minute. Did you guess Breath of the Wild? Well, you're wrong. It's actually Twilight Princess. This even extends to all the menus and icons and stuff, although I do prefer the cleaner white menus of Tears of the Kingdom. But Mr. No Checkpoint Man, I hear you saying. If they're so similar, then which will you give the point to? My dear viewer, you mustn't have noticed the frequent amount of stuttering and frame drops that Breath of the Wild has, but Tears of the Kingdom does not. Point to Tears of the Kingdom.
I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I don't really care about the story in either game. Oh, come on, I know, but hear me out. This right here. This is the best Sonic game.
With most of the story being optional in both games, it's up to you if you want to experience them or not. I was kinda disappointed by the story in Breath of the Wild because they introduced all these new characters only for them to die in flashbacks. They're given little to no development and are only seen or heard through word of mouth or memories. The bland voice acting doesn't help much either.
Hero of Hyrule, chosen by the sword that seals the darkness.
You have shown unflinching bravery and skill in the face of darkness and adversity.
Everybody has their cute little moments here and there, but it's not enough to save a generic and forgettable story.
And stop following me!
Tears of the Kingdom doesn't fare too much better, but I do think that its plot lines are slightly more interesting on a base level. You've got Link losing his arm, Zelda going back in time, the depths ravishing Hyrule, and Big Daddy Ganondorf is back. I find a world where Link and Zelda are known by everyone to be a fresh concept rather than one where Link is a wandering hero who nobody knows. The memories showing Ganon growing to power and Zelda interacting with the original King and Queen of Hyrule, I think beats Breath of the Wild's memories by a long shot.
Alright gamers, we're gonna be fast with this one. We got 5 categories.
We've got combat, exploration, shrine/puzzles, abilities, and bosses. I'm not a huge fan of the combat in either game. I don't like the limited move list, or the fact that weapons break, or the small variety of enemies. However, Tears of the Kingdom gets the point here due to the fuse mechanic, which allows you to combine weapons and items and shields together to create an extensive array of weapons. Also, I want to flex that I killed a Lionel in Breath of the Wild right here. I liked exploring in both games. In Breath of the Wild, the open world was a new, exciting thing for Zelda. However, the point once again goes to Tears of the Kingdom because it has 3 separate worlds to explore. The sky, the surface, and the depths. And I like the twist that they put on the familiar areas from Breath of the Wild to keep the areas fresh. Also, I'm a fan of the new cave systems, but not when they hide shrines in them. Sometimes it's hard to find the entrances and it's fucking dumb and I don't like it. I think both games are close in terms of puzzle quality, yet the point once again goes to Tears of the Kingdom because the abilities add even more unique ways to solve puzzles than even Breath of the Wild did. The runes in Breath of the Wild were revolutionary at the time, because they could be used at any time in exploration, combat, or puzzles. Yet, once again, Tears of the Kingdom takes the point, because it got some of the greatest utility in any game that I have ever played. You're constantly using abilities in Tears of the Kingdom, but I barely used any of the runes while recording footage for Breath of the Wild. Also, you can make bomb swords. Tears of the Kingdom has all of the bosses that Breath of the Wild had, and more. So, take your guess who gets the point here.
He's already dead.
This is where things get a little bit complicated.
Shut up!
Tears of the Kingdom takes everything that was great about Breath of the Wild and improves upon it in every way. But for me, these two things are more than games. They're experiences. Unforgettable memories. It took me a couple of years of picking up and putting down Breath of the Wild to finish it because, well, I didn't want the experience to end. After beating it once, I never had any desire to go back and play it again because I knew I could never recreate that experience from that first playthrough. It changed the Zelda series forever. It may be the most influential game of the series. Tears of the Kingdom always feels like just more Breath of the Wild. And I have no doubt that Tears of the Kingdom is the better game, but I think to most people it will always just be the sequel to the impressive, never to be forgotten Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Well, it was a difficult and hard-fought battle. But in the end, I think the better Zelda game ended up being Majora's Mask 3D!